This video may be filmed in the course of 2 days. I will film the video tomorrow because I'm already like my voice is cracking, I'm sweating, and yeah. And this video is probably like already an hour long, so see you tomorrow. And I may have changed my outfit for the video, and also my makeup may be different, so just heads up. Hey everyone, I'm Yanis and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are doing something I have not been doing for almost like ages. I will be reviewing Finale, and it is a book review, very obviously. So far this video is going to be spoiler free to all those who have or have not read Caraval, which is the first 2 books in the series, in the trilogy, and so far it's going to be non-spoilery to all those who have not read this trilogy. I will let you know when there's like any spoiler involved. So yeah, let's just get started. First thing you may be actually interested in, the first thing you need to know is that I rate this book a 4 out of 5 stars. This is a book that I struggle a lot with my ratings, but I did finally rest with 4 out of 5 stars. Just some, common information that this book has a 4.28 out of 5 stars on the Goodreads average, and 50% of the readers rated a 5 stars. So obviously I'm not in the majority of the people. I rated it a 4 star, which I remember only like 30% of the people rated it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I am still like on the higher rating. And also you may think like this is a 4-star review, but I can tell you what you're about to see may actually sound like a 2 or 3-star review, and that is because I like rating my books based on a reader point of view. Like I rate 4 stars because I enjoy reading it, but then my review is going to be a little more critical and a little bit more from the reviewer point of view, so that is going to be the difference, so just be aware of that. So now basically what Finale is about, it is the 3rd and final installment to the Caraval trilogy, or Caraval. So basically to save you all the work of like going back to my previous review, which is already private, so you're not gonna watch it, I'll tell you very roughly what this trilogy is about. So I will read it and probably speed this up because it's just information, and yeah. So in book 1, Caraval, Tella, and Scarlet got an invitation to participate in the upcoming Caraval game. Tella thinks it's a good chance to run away from their father's control, so she brings the 2 of them to Caraval. During Caraval, Tella is kidnapped, and Scarlet soon realizes the prize of winning Caraval is to get back her sister. In order to do that, she needs to win the game and get the prize. In book 2, Legendary, the stranger whom Tella traded with him for the freedom and their mother's information comes to find her for payment, and the payment for that trade is none other than Legend's real identity. Another Caraval begins, and this time the prize to the winners is a chance to see Legend. In another word, it means whoever wins will get to know Legend's identity. However, as the game progresses, things turn more complicated. The fates, the mythical magical beings are introduced, and soon Legend's identity is revealed, and he's not who Tella thinks he would be. So that is what really happened in book 1 and book 2. So when I was organizing my notes, I tried to figure what book 3 Finale is really about. I feel like there a lot happened throughout Finale, but I cannot really pin it down to you an actual like one huge plot line, so I just try to put it in my words. So this is what I wrote. So now Legend's identity is revealed and the world is in a mess. Lives and love are at risk. The goods need to battle the fates in order to restore peace, and that often comes with sacrifices. That is not a good synopsis. So there is going to be a lot of I don't know moments or confused moments. Now the structure of this review is going to be rating and synopsis, which I already gave you, and then it will be overall thoughts, writing, characters, world building, other things, and plot. So actually everything after writing is going to be spoilery. Anyway, I'm just going to talk about my overall thoughts right now. Here comes to my second I don't know moment. This is very rare for me because normally when I finish reading a book, I either really like it or I either do not like it or find it disappointing. But this book is the type of book where I can tell everything I like about it and everything I don't like about it, but I cannot really tell you overall how I think about it. This book, I definitely do have disappointments, but also I'm not mad about the ending. Like, I don't know. It's weird. So yes, going to the writing. There are things I need to talk about the writing. I cannot really find some very major things I do not like. So basically, an overview to the writing is that the pacing is fast. At least I think it's fast. I feel like this book does not have like a single page wasted. The good things I love about the writing is that this book has so many decent writing. I may just read some of them to you because I feel the need to. So the first one is on page 163. It says, "The air tasted candied, the world glittered, and the stars looked close enough to steal and place inside of her pockets, making Tella feel as if she were inside of one of Legend's dream, or back in Caravel." I really love how Stephanie Garber's like described the air, even though I know that may sound annoying to some people, but personally it's fine for me and I really like that. Am I weird? I don't know. I feel like it may not be for everyone, but I really do like it for some reason, so yeah. And also there is another line on page 275 that I really like how like the environment changes with the character's emotion. Like that is another very weirdly specific things, but I really do enjoy reading it. So there's a scene where Tella is kind of not in a very good mood, and then it just said several stars disappeared from the sky, and I read that and then I immediately felt how she is just not feeling great. These are some very weirdly specific things where I like about the writing of Finale. So now sadly for all those who have not read Finale, this is the end of the non-spoilery part of the video. So everything I am about to say is going to be spoilery, or it's going to relate it to the plot, or with any sorts of spoiler in any sorts of ways. So if you have not read a book and you wish to read it, go read it and come back to the video. If you have not read it and you don't care about it, continue watch the video. So now moving on to the characters. So most of the characters really confuses me and I don't know why that happens. They're not really consistent and their choices and their attitude really confuse me, and it's kind of sometimes even contradictory, which is weird. The only character who stays consistent throughout the book is Julian, and he is probably my favorite character of the book because he's just the most normal guy in the entire book. So yes, I'll start off with Julian, and then Scarlet, and then Legend, and then Tella. We are going to from the most not confusing one to the most confusing one. So yeah. So like I said, Julian is a very consistent character. He is not confusing for me. Throughout the book, Julian was portrayed as the very mature and understanding and willing to fight for love, that kind of character. There is this quote on page 245. It was between Julian and Tella's asking him like, Legend wanted to turn me immortal, and she was like, what should I do? And Julian said like, that's a choice I wouldn't want to make for anyone. I appreciate him so much from this line because he totally understands the importance of that choice that'll like affect her entire life, and if I were him I would have said the exact same thing, and I really give very deep appreciation for him because he was just so understanding. It is hard to find a character that's so calm and mature in this book, and I have very deep appreciation for him. There is this scene between the conversation of Julian and Tella. They're like searching one of the ruins, I believe, and Tella like suddenly became like very sentimental. Is that the word? The her is Scarlet. Don't just love her back, Julian. Fight for her every day. And Julian replies, I intend to. And replying to that I intend to that quote, on page 368 there is this note where Julian left saying that he is going to find Scarlet because he's worried and all that. This is just such an like accurate reply to what he promised. Like, I intend to fight for her. Like he is actually like doing some actions, and even Tella and Legend is like strongly disagree with him going to find Scarlet. He still like is fighting for her with his like last chance. And also he's just super consistent throughout the entire book, like from the first few pages to, you know, even like 400 something pages, he still has the same core deep inside. He's still like the mature and understanding guy, and I have a very deep appreciation for that. I mean, I'm saying appreciation for way too much, but yes, it is, you know, it's kind of rare to find a consistent character in this book. So now moving on to Scarlet. So I try to kind of combine a few of her character traits together, and this is what I got. So basically, she's the kind of girl who love and emotions drive her entire life, and this is actually proved on page 392. I sound so confusing, but I have like actual problems with her. Like in the very beginning of the books, there is this scene where it happens, and I just do not like her for the rest of the book. That is just very childish of her. So anyway, there is the scene where she is meeting with the Count for the first time, I believe, and Julian came with her, like insists of coming with her, and then Scarlet basically insists of having two boys fighting over her and letting two boys to have a competition, and she says it'll be fun. Like, I was like, what? That is just disgusting. And then she just keeps saying, like, Julian says you don't want to do that, and Scarlet says that is what I want. And then I was like, why? Like, just because you may be angry of Julian, like, but like, why would you say something like that? Like, you just want to say like, won't have two boys fighting over you, and it's just like, no. And then on page 61, still in the same scene, like Julian warning her that Nicholas, the Count, yes, may not like be who he seems to be, and then Scarlet just judged Nicholas based on how he looked. This is what it says on page 61. He is Julian. He had said in the carriage he was here because he didn't trust the Count. But Nicholas was a botanist with a dog. One look at him and it was clear he didn't have any nefarious plans for Scarlet. I was like, why? Like, don't they say that don't judge a book on its cover? Like, don't judge a people just based on how they look? Confused. So moving on to the next character is Legend. He is a very complex character, but he is also at the same time probably the only character in this book that has any sort of character development, and I do really appreciate that. He turns from this character like from very selfish, like wanting to turn Tella to immortal so he would not have to die, also refused to choose love over immortality. So like from selfish to almost lost his power protecting Tella in front of the priestess. How do you say that word? I can't believe I did not look this up. Priestess. He almost lost his power protecting Tella in front of the priestess. Like in the scene where they were in one of the ruins, I believe. The priestess was there and Jax also suddenly appeared, and that scene kind of touched me. Not gonna lie. But at the same time, he's also arrogant, which is confusing. It's exactly on the last page of chapter 41 where it is a conversation between Julian and Legend, and where Julian is like, love is the real power, Legend. And Legend said something like this, and yet all the love in the world wouldn't have brought Tella back without my magic. Dramatic eye roll. And then Julian says, she never would have died without your magic either. Julian's smile disappeared. Tella would have found another way. She didn't and doesn't need you to save her. She needs to save you. And yet all the love in the world wouldn't have brought Tella back without my magic. Just how arrogant. Okay, so he obviously almost lost his power protecting Tella, and also at the same time is arrogant. I mean, there really is not anything like contradictory between arrogant and almost lost his life protecting her, but like it's still weird. On another hand, he also turns from like this kind of low self-esteem person. Okay. There's a scene where Tella went to his bedroom and then there's like a huge painting on the wall. Tella described that he looked more like a grim shadow in the painting. Next few pages, like Legend woke up and then they had a conversation, and then Legend repeatedly said that he thinks Tella deserves someone better, not an immortal like him. Basically, it's just Legend thinking that Tella deserves someone better and he does not deserve her. So, and then, I mean, if you read towards the end, you know that things changed and he knew he loves her. And so yes, this is the character development. This is like the only character development that I could find in this book. Anyway, now moving on to our probably last main character, Tella, she is the most confusing character to me. Like, I cannot express my confusion enough. Like, I literally have like three I don't know moments in Tella's character. I was organizing my notes and trying to find like what is her character traits, and this is what I got: bold, inconsiderate, and reckless, and want to love bracket question mark. So basically I have like two sections for her character. So the first part is actually like who she is as a character, and the second part of her character is questions / confusion. I have a lot to ask, and this is weird because normally a character never got me so confused before. The inconsiderate and reckless part is really what I really have to talk about her. She is so reckless. I don't know if it's for dramatic purpose or what, but she is very inconsiderate. This is the scene where it is after Tella and Legend visited the Immortal Library, and like all of them came up with a plan of getting the Fallen Star's blood. The Fallen Star is the head of the Fates, if you have not read the book. When everything is like ready, they're ready to fight, they're ready to you know, actually carry out the plan, she told Legend she doesn't like him. She told Legend she doesn't like him, exact quoting: "But I actually think I fell more in love with the idea of you than the real you." Legend said, "You don't mean that, Tella." "Yes, I do." This conversation happened in the most critical moment when teamwork is needed the most. I mean, I get it if you are using this as a dramatic plot purpose because it worked. But like, regardless, it is still reckless. You are thinking your personal relationship more than the bigger picture of actual teamwork, and if they're not cooperating, the team is going to, you know, vanish and everything's just not gonna work. Inconsiderate and reckless, that's my conclusion. Now moving on to the question / confusion section I have for Tella. There's a lot. There's a total of 3 things I'm not quite sure and confuses me. So after she saw her mother's dead, and then she was like in grief, and Jax took away her grief, and this is on page 109. And after that taking away the grief, that process, and then Tella thanks her, and then Jax said, "I'm not sure I did you a favor, my love." Does that not sound creepy to you, Tella? Like, this line is not even mentioned twice in the book, and Tella did not even feel suspicious. That is mind-blowing. That is straight up a villain line. Jax saying, "I'm not sure I did you a favor." Why is that not mentioned in the book, and why is Tella not suspicious about it? I am very confused. Really? This is my third I don't know moment. So the fourth I don't know moment is in chapter 38, like after breaking up with Legend. She mentioned, this is exact quoting from the book. She asked Tella, she was a little tempted by the idea of feeling indifferent rather than feeling everything. So if you don't know, Jax has the power of manipulating others' emotion, and basically Tella is considering letting Jax to manipulate her emotions rather than feeling everything. But the biggest reason why she does not want to turn immortal, which is the invitation by Legend, is because she wants to feel everything, including love. I am confused. So now the 5th thing is one of the biggest thing. After reading the entire book, I was showering that night after I read the book, and I was like, oh my gosh, Tella is literally lying throughout the entire book. Like, she lied. I don't know how many of you realizes that, but she is literally lying throughout the entire book. If you're not aware, she did not tell anyone her relationship with Jax, Prince of Hearts, throughout the entire book. Not with Scarlet, not with Legend. There is a part where it is revealed that she was once married to Jax. I literally wrote on my book saying that, where it is, I literally wrote on my book like, Tella, you have a lot of explanations to do, and then bracket to Legend. This marriage was never brought twice in the book. She just go away with it. Like, she just go away with such an important part. She is freaking married to a fate, and she never mentioned it never mentioned twice to Legend, not mentioning it to Scarlet. I thought there may be like a lot of arguments happening between Tella and Legend where he would be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're married to a Fade, and then I don't know, I just expect something like that, Tella explaining what happened, what that marriage means to her, and what it really is. But no, and like, no. Another scene is when Legend and Tella are getting to the Immortal Library. They need like a drop of blood as they enter to the library, and then like, because Tella and Jax has that process of after her mother's death, like Jack took away her grief, so basically it's like a blood spell, and then they need to like exchange blood or something around the same line. So there is a wound on Tella's hand or her arm, I don't remember, but basically she has a wound, and she said that the wound is still fresh enough for her to kind of, this is very triggering, but she kind of reopens it. The question is that why did Legend never question about her wound? Like, Tella literally needs to drop a drop of blood to the opening of the entrance of the library, and Legend could not have missed her opening and having a blood drop out of her hand. Like, he could not have missed that process, and why did he not even question about her wound? Like, not out of suspicion or not even out of worry? Your girlfriend really has like a wound that could open at any time and you just not question about it. So this is like my 5th I don't know moment. The next character I'm going to talk about, he is a very side and minor character, and he is Casper. He is one of Legend's ageless performers in Caravel. This does not slip my eye because Caravel series does not have a representation on any LGBTQIA+ relationship, and representation matters. So I just am going to throw this out for discussion. You may disagree, but okay. So it is on page 315, and this is the scene where Tella and Legend came back from the library, I believe. They were with the house with the maiden death and the assassin, and with a bunch of performers, and Casper is one of them. Legend and Tella has a discussion, and then Legend said, I think you like me because I'm terrible. And then no, Tella wiggled against him, but he didn't budge. I've decided I like nice boys, like Casper. And then the following line is what really gets me in questions, and Legend says, lucky for me, he doesn't like girls that way. That is one of the things I kind of want to know what that line means. My first impression is that Legend is implying that Casper is gay or he doesn't like girls in any ways. That is what I got from that implication, because I'm not sure about it, and this is definitely open for discussion, but because of the lack of representation of LGBTQIA+ relationship or characters in this book, I just thought I may bring it up because maybe he is or maybe he's not. The trilogy ended anyway and the book is written, so yeah, it So now another thing I have to mention about characters is the sibling dynamics in this book. Very heartwarming. So we have Tella and Scarlet, the sisters, and then Julian and Legend also get some very quality brother scenes. So now before going into the plot, I may just talk about the other things I love and I don't love, and I may find it problematic. So the first thing I want to mention is the good things is this book did not romanticize death. On page 350, and it says the most magnificent thing are worth living for. So I feel like it is especially important to like mentioning that you don't die for a thing, you live for things. Important message, and I feel like it just spread the words out. So now going into the slightly problematic things, I mean, it may not necessarily be problematic. I mean, again, it is open for discussion. It's just from my point of view, or it should have like done a little better. And it is the scene where she went to find the twins who could like predict future in the vanished market, and she needs to trade her daughter's weakness with the twins in exchange for the Fallen Star's information. In exchange for the Fallen Star's most closely guarded secret, we want you to discover your daughter's secret weakness and then return to the market and give this knowledge to us. And basically my problem with it is just that, shouldn't that be your daughter's right to decide whether to tell the weakness or not? Like, Tella should not make the decision so easily and without a second thought of agreeing this exchange and agreeing to give her daughter's weakness to them. I understand how Scarlet is her sister and it really is like a very emergent scenes for her to decide, but this book does not show her thoughts and conflicts when she is like deciding this. She did not think about her daughter or Scarlet. She does not think like Scarlet or her daughter. She does not even think about that. So she's just like, okay, I agree. Legend said you don't have to do this, and then Tella still does not show any like internal struggles and she just agrees very quickly. I just feel like it's not very ethical and moral to do that. It could have been the same way if Stephanie Garber just added a few like internal struggle scenes showing the readers that she really did struggle this choice in between Scarlet and her daughter, but it was not shown. So now moving on to the plot, where I'll divide it into two parts. The first part is going to be the good things I like about it, and the second part is going to be some I don't know good or bads, and the third part is going to be bad moments. Some of the good things I really like about this book is how clever this book is, which is where like Mistress Luck says your relationship, you being Tella, with the Prince of Hearts will end in catastrophe. And on page 332, when we knew that Tella is married to Jax, this links to the catastrophe part because we knew that Tella is not going to be with Jax. And also like on page 109, when Jax is like taking away Tella's pain, he said that I'm not sure I did you a favor, my love. So it's very clever because I feel like the marry thing, like the marriage, this clue links to two different clues together, and I just feel like it's so clever and I really do appreciate it. Another thing is like towards the ending, Tella needs to save Legend from the cage, and so that directly and figuratively replied to Julian that Tella needs to save Legend, and I just feel like that's very clever because Tella did save Legend like emotionally and physically, so I just feel like it's very clever. The third thing is there's the scene where the Fallen Stars brings in a lady for Scarlet to manipulate and to train her power. The lady is Esmeralda, or however you pronounce her name. Esmeralda. So it is very obviously that that lady is Esmeralda, and here is my theory, and I mean it's basically implied several times throughout that scenes, and so here is why I think she is. On page 135, it has her feature on it. I'm just going to read it out. Her arms were covered in scrolling tattoos of faded black roses and vines that ended in two damaged hands, covered in fresh stitches. The woman's fingers had been removed, and from the sight of the stitching, it looked as if it had just been done. So Legend did kind of drink from her hand, if I did not remember it like wrong. And in that scene, the Fallen Star says, it's really too bad your magic is gone and you're absolutely useless now. So that also refers to Legend, because Legend took almost all of her power and her magic gone. So I mean, second clue, and it is accurate and it is just what it is, and I have like my entire theory here. And the third proof is on page 369, which is also like a few pages after that, and the Fallen Star says, long ago she betrayed me. And this is another clue because Esmeralda logged the fates in the card of decks like a few ages ago or a few years ago. All these clues imply that she is Esmeralda, and the continuation of her storyline after being dumped by Legend. This is so clever. I mean, this is never said directly, so I may be wrong, but if you have read the book, please tell me if she really is Esmeralda, because it's so clever and I would really love to know if I'm like correct. So now talking on the bad things, or things I do not like about the plot overall, there are 1, 2, 3 points in total. So the first point, okay, I have a lot typed out, and yeah. The first I don't know moments, or like the first thing I really need to talk about the plot, I really hope you can keep on watching because this is so important and I really would love to discuss with more people who have read this book. It is predicted in the library scene, no, Vanish Market scene, where Tella found the twin sisters and Legend arrives. So the twin told Tella that the father of your child will possess magic. Your daughter will soon born with a very powerful gift. It said that the father has magic. And page 257 later, like, Legend arrives and he's figuring things with Tella and realizing that they actually do love each other, which is, yeah, not gonna comment on the relationship, but they're basically like kissing and not really making out, but they're like very emotional and, yeah, kissing. The twins told them, like, ahem. The older sister cleared her throat. If you wish to start making that child now, I'm afraid this is not the place. It is said that that child, if you wish to start making that child, so it is implied, so obviously implied, that that child is Tella's daughter. The father of that daughter is going to be Legend, so this is implied. But so there are like a few things where I have like problem with, like, why the specific information have to be put in the middle of the book. Like it was told when the book is like this. This is the cover. Like, it still have like half of it going on. By the time I was reading this, I know no matter what happens, like, I don't care if Jax is like married to Tella. I don't care, because I know they're gonna separate, and I know Tella and Legend's going to be married and they're gonna have a daughter. I know no matter what happens, she's not gonna die, Legend's not gonna die, because they're gonna have a child, and it really took away the fun of reading it. The second thing is, like, by the end of the book, Legend sacrificed her magic and said, I love you to Tella. Basically, the magic's like gone, so he is not magical already. On the prophet kind of thing made by the twins, saying that the daughter will still possess magic. So I'm not very sure, because Legend does not possess magic anymore, so does the daughter possess magic? But there is this theory set later, magic cannot die. So when their human bodies perished, their magic was transferred into objects. This was said by Potion, or said by the Fallen Stars in the fighting scenes in the castle thingy. It is, and it's like a different theory, because when the Fallen Star kind of died, his magic transferred into a dagger or something around the same line. I don't remember. But first of all, Legend did not die, and he willingly stripped away his magic. So I'm not sure how can his magic like still inherit to his daughter. I am very confused. The seventh I don't know moments, because I really have no idea what's really going on with the scenes. I'm not sure if like Stephanie Garber's like started the scene as a joke. It was kind of funny, saying, if you wish to start making that child now, I'm afraid this isn't the place. But why put this information in the middle of the book? I basically know what's going to happen like in the rest of the book, and it is just confusing. It doesn't really add up. I'm not sure if it's like a plot hole or anything, or if my theory is incorrect. So this is another place where I really would love discussion to happen. Please, if you have like any more in-depth thoughts on this, I would really do love to discuss more about it in the comment section, or if you would like to DM me or anything, please, because I am confused, and this is like my biggest theory that is like unsolved. So I really would love to have the answer, because I am very confused. The next thing I kind of am confused and do not like about it is in chapter 41, there is this scene between Legend and Julian. After Legend and Tella went to the Immortal Library, they went to the house with Julian and other performers and the Maiden Death and the Assassin. So they were there. When they were like arrived at house, Julian just out of like nothing and pulled Legend away in front of Tella. Like, he literally like pulled him aside and then have this very deep conversation. Like, Julian talks like almost like deep bottom from his heart to Legend. But I was like, I love that scene, but is it really necessary and that urgent to have like Julian literally pull Legend away from Tella? Like, where does that even come from? Like, why did you suddenly feel like there is a need and urge to say that? Like, it never really was explained. So I mean, it was kind of sudden, and I don't know, it just really makes me easily feel like, is it just because it's convenient for the plot? I'll never know. The last thing I kind of did not like the book, and this is also a very major thing, is I feel like the book had like so much potential, but it does not utilize the almost ending and the true ending part. This book is divided into beginning, the middle, the almost ending, and the true ending. So this was like a huge theme going on in the entire trilogy, because it was mentioned since the first book. When I have not really even read this book, I thought like almost ending is going to be something like you think it's the ending already, but then there's a huge gigantic plot twist towards the almost ending, and then it's the true ending. So that is what I have always thought of the structure is going to be, but no, the almost ending is actually one of the ending, and the true ending is just like an epilogue, which is not how I expected it to be. And I feel like it just could have been a very huge potential for it to have a giant plot twist and then blow up in the end and then leave a very impressive ending in my mind. Not that the ending is not good, I just really wish it could have done this way. So my camera battery is like running out, but that's the end of the video and that's the end of the review. I put in so much effort in this video and in this review, so I hope this does not flop. But anyways, I really do hope you guys enjoy this video. If you have read or if you have any questions, please comment down below. I would love to discuss more about this book. So yeah, that's it for the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!